Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Heath. I am a Riso Hudson certified Enneagram teacher and author. And today I'm talking about my new book. It is called Know Yourself to Know God, and it is an Enneagram short book and then a 30-day journal that comes after it. So I intended to launch this book a year ago, and just for various reasons, health stuff, other stuff, I wasn't able to. So I'm so excited that it's finally out into the world. And so let's talk about it. Okay, why did I write this book? So it started out actually as an audio program. That was the first iteration of it. And I sold exactly one copy because I'm terrible at marketing. I'm trying to get better. But then I went on to write my what became my first book. And it's much larger. It's called Becoming Your True You, God, the Enneagram, and Your Unique Purpose. And so you can see that in the description below. There's a link if you want to look at that. But this book happened again. Initially it was an audio program, and then after I wrote my first book, someone said to me, "Oh, this is great. When is the workbook coming out?" And I thought, well, I don't know that I want to do a workbook on that entire book, but maybe I could take this audio program, tweak it a little bit, and then add a journal afterwards. And so that's what I did, because I wanted something that was really practical, just a daily practical application of the Enneagram. And especially in terms of spiritual formation, because that's what I'm all about. I believe that the Enneagram exists for the purpose of spiritual development and transformation. So who is this book for? That is a great question. Well, I have it written in the dedication page. To the seekers, to the restless, to anyone who wants more. So if that sounds like you, then you're in the right place. And if maybe it doesn't sound like you, stick around for a few minutes, because as I explain what's in the book, maybe it will sound interesting to you. All right. So this book is meant to give you information, right? A basis of understanding of the Enneagram of personality and how it applies to your life, because the Enneagram is not just a meme, right? It's not just a funny post you see on Instagram. It is not who you actually authentically are. It's where you got stuck. And so the Enneagram helps you discover where that stuck spot is and how to get unstuck, so that you can be a fuller version of who God always intended you to be. Okay. So I am living proof that it is possible to change, and living proof that the Enneagram is a beautiful tool that God can use to help with that change. All right. So I want to say my favorite quote from this book, and it's a quote from the wonderful 20th century mystic Thomas Merton. And he says, I'm going to read this from my notes so I don't mess it up. "There is only one problem on which all my existence, my peace, and my happiness depend: to discover myself in discovering God. If I find Him, I will find myself. And if I find my true self, I will find Him." This is the whole premise of this book, Know Yourself to Know God. All right. St. Augustine also said something similar. And he was saying this to God: "When I was far from me, I was far from you." And I think he intuitively understood that God and the true version of ourselves live in the same place inside us, and that's in our spirits. So here's a quick overview of what is inside. You are going to learn about the difference between your spirit and your soul. And that's a really important distinction, because people get this wrong all the time, and it then interferes with their ability to really grasp how things are working in your brain and in your spirit, and what's really going on. Once you understand that distinction, things become a lot more clear. All right. You're going to learn about the personality and where it comes from and why it is not who you truly are. You're going to learn about the inner critic, and we all know who that is, right? That's that voice inside our head that says mean things to us or to other people or to both. All right. You're going to learn about the Enneagram. So if you already know the Enneagram pretty well, it'll just be a quick reminder. If you don't yet know the Enneagram, it is enough of a beginning for you to then work with. All right, so each of the 9 personality types has a quick description, a page or two that helps you understand what that type is like. All right. Then the second part of the book is that 30-day devotional journal experience. So each day has a quote from the book, or a quote from scripture, or a quote from a famous person. Then you've got a stillness practice, and that is really the core of this journaling experience. So I just want to beg you, do not skip that part if you get this book. That is so key to what you're trying to accomplish, right? You got to learn to be still, learn to be quiet, learn to hear God's voice, learn to distinguish God's voice from that inner critic, stuff that's going on in your head all the time, and learn to understand what that inner critic is talking about the most, and you'll begin to see patterns. So it's all super important for you to be still, okay? Then there's an exercise where you are going to journal. There's a reflection question that's based usually on that quote that began the journaling day. And then, you will write out your answers. So I'm going to read just a little bit from the introduction of the book, so you get, again, a kind of flavor for what it's about and what's going on, okay? What does it mean to know yourself? Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living for a human being." We don't do that much, though, do we? Our culture doesn't typically value or support self-examination. Smartphones, streaming services, social media, much of our lives revolve around amusement and distraction, or the busyness of side hustles. There isn't much downtime. It's as if slowing down is a national sin that we must avoid at all costs. It's particularly telling that when I run into someone I haven't seen in a while, I ask how they're doing, and the phrase I hear most often is, "Oh, keeping busy," as if constant motion were a virtue. The church is just as guilty. How many pastors in America teach contemplative prayer, for instance? The constant frenzy of activity we tend toward often steals our purpose and our destiny, because it's only with reflection and quiet that we begin to know ourselves. So again, that's why that stillness practice is so important. All right, so now that you've had a little bit of an overview of the book, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section about if that resonates with you, and if so, what particularly resonates with you about what I just said. This is a more contemplative approach to the Enneagram than you may be used to, and that's a good thing, again, in my book, because we need to learn how to be self-reflective and how to be still, how to be silent, how to hear what's going on in our own brains, and also hear the voice of the Lord. All right, so I'm going to do a giveaway. I did giveaways when I did my live launch on Facebook, and so I thought it would be only fair to do a giveaway as well. So if you're interested in getting this book for free, a paperback version, go ahead and write in the comments why you would be interested in reading this book. And if you've already left a comment about what is compelling or what resonates with you about what I've been saying, then I'll count that as well. So I'll just count up all the comments. I will draw a number out of the hat, and that will be the random winner, and I will contact you via the comments so that you can let me know how to get it to you. All right. Thank you so much for sticking with me this long, and you can find this book on Amazon. You can look up my name, Heath Davis Havlick, or you can look up the name of the book, Know Yourself to Know God. It's available in ebook, paperback, and hardback. And if you do read it, I really want to just encourage you to please leave an honest review afterwards, because reviews really help the Amazon algorithm know whether they should be recommending this book to other people. And that's how we get the message out to a wider audience. So I would really appreciate that if you do it. All right, thank you so much for watching. If this was a video that you enjoyed, please like and consider subscribing for more Enneagram and spiritual formation content. Have a great day.